Hello, welcome to pre-maths lesson. Today we're going to be looking at 2023 practice paper set 3 and this is paper 2, foundation. Question 1. We start with question 1 here. Write down the one cube number less than 10. So if you know about the cube numbers, those are the ones when you multiply number by itself 3 times and the answer you get would be the cube numbers. So we start with the 1. Saying 1 times 1 times 1. That's your first cube number. That is equal to 1, which is less than 10. So you can put your answer as 1. Or we can go through with the second one. 2 times 2 times 2. That gives you 8. So it's either going to be 1 or 8. As long as you put these two answers, you would get 1 mark. But if you put 1 cube or 2 cube, it wouldn't get you mark. So you need to put 1 or 8 as your answer. Complete the sentence. A diameter is double the length of radius. So we need to know the names of the circle. For example, if you have a circle here, diameter is the line that runs through the center all the way across. And the radius is half of that. From center to the circumference. So that's the radius. So diameter is made up of 2 radiuses. Okay, 2 radii. So diameter is double the length of radius. Write down the name of the shape. This shape has a special property. These 2 lines are same length. And these 2 adjacent lines, means the lines that's next to each other, those 2 are same length. So if you have something like that and one pair of opposite angles, it's always known as a kite or arrowhead. That's the 2 other names. Or inverse kite, okay, or concave kite. So that 2 lines here drops in here. That makes this an arrowhead. So the name here is kite. -2 and -3. So you have 2 negatives, 1 and 2. And then you're adding 3 more negatives, 1, 2, and 3. So altogether, if you think about it, I got 2 and 3 more negatives, so we get -5, 5 negatives. Write down the suitable unit of mass for an apple. So if you're writing down unit means how do you measure an apple? If you have to measure an apple, what kind of unit do we use? You're not going to measure the weight of an apple using meters, are you? No. So we need to work out what unit do we use to measure an apple. You use unit the grams. Kilograms. But kilograms is less likely. You're going to be using grams because the apple's not going to be weighing more than 1 kilogram, one apple. You're going to have to say 0.5 kilogram or 0.25 kilogram, even if it's the heaviest apple you ever seen. 119 is a 2 digits of the same. 119 has 2 digits that's the same. 1, 1, 9. So digit 1, that's a digit. One individual number is a digit. Another digit, that's 1. And then you have 9. So these 2 digits are the same in this 3-digit number. Okay. So write down the next whole number with the 2 digits the same. So after 119, we get 120. None of the digits are same. Then you get 121. These 2 again are the same. So that's our number that we needed. 1 and 1, they are same digits in 121. That's the next number after 119. That has a 2 digits. That's exactly the same. 987 has all digits different. 9, 8, and 7. They're all different. Write down the next whole number with all digits different. So if you think about it, if I go 88, 89, then 8, 9, 990, so 2 9s. We can't have anything in 90 to all the way to 1000. Okay, we won't get anything that has same different digits because you've got 990, 991, 92, 93, 94. Then you get to this place where you got 1000 and 1. That's 2 digits same, these 2 digits same. So those going to be same all the way up to when you get to the 1010. We still have the same digits, and then you get 11, 12. So these two going to be same. So we're not going to get anything that's same up to 1020, because that one will make it exactly the same. But there you got 2 digits, so you get 1, 2, 1. 1 are the same. Then you get 1, 0, 2, 2. These 2's are the same. Then you get 1, 0, 2, 3. So that's the first number that comes after 987 that has all the digits that are different. Even though it's a 4-digit number, you get 1, 0, 2, and 3. What direction is 3/4 turn clockwise from the north line? So from the north here, if I go 1/4, never eat, that's 1/4. Shredded, that's south, that's 2/4. Read, that's your 3/4. So when you go all the way up to here, 3/4 of the turn, you will be facing west. So that's what you need to put down as an answer, west. Simplify 3a plus a. So if you have 3 lots of a and add one more a. For example, I have these 3 cubes, 1, 2, and 3. 3 cubes here, and add one more cube. Add one more cube. You'll have 4 cubes now. And the same way, if you have 3 a's and add one more a, you will have 4a. 4 lots of a. 3 lots of a, add one more lots of a, gives you 4a. B times c. B times c, in the algebra we do not write multiplication sign. So all you have to do is just write that down as a BC. Expand the brackets. We can use grid method where you got D plus 3 on the one side and 2 on the other side. So we're trying to find the area of these rectangles in a way. So that's the height 2 and the length D. We're going to have to do 2 times D. Again, if you look back at just a question about this, we don't write multiplication sign, so that gives you 2D. And then you're doing 2 times positive 3 gives you positive 6. So that's our answer, 2D plus 6. Factorize, which is opposite of what we just done. We know the area and we want to work out the height and the width, where you want the height to be as much as possible, as big as possible. So what's the biggest common factor of these two areas, which is 5? So you can take the 5 out here. Now you're saying you're going to work out 5 times what gives you 5x. So we're saying 5 times x gives you 5x. And then 5 times what gives you positive 10. We're saying 5 times positive 2 will give you positive 10. So here, those are the two numbers that multiply together gives you this area. So we know our answer is going to be 5 times x plus 2. Sid and Nancy gets a pocket money and they get the same amount of pocket money. Whatever the pocket money Sid gets, Nancy gets exactly the same amount of pocket money. Sid spends half of his pocket money. It's 4-mark question, so I would write down what would the, and he has left half of it left, obviously. So we're saying the half is 250. If he has half of it left, so half is 250. So what's the 1 whole one going to be? Think about it as a shape again. That's 250. So the other part would be 250 as well. So the 1 whole thing is £5. So writing these things down will get you maths. So we're saying, okay, the Sid gets £5 pocket money. So does the Nancy. Nancy gets £5. Now Nancy spends 30% of hers. This is a calculator paper. So we can work out 30% of £5 very quickly. Again, write that down. What are we doing to get 30% of £5? So we're saying 30% of £5, which is same as doing 0.3, because 30% as a decimal is 0.3, and multiplying it by 5. And when you put that in the calculator, you can work it out. So that's going to be 1.5. So you got £1.50. So Nancy gets £5, she spent £30, so she spent £1.50. And how much money does Nancy have left? So you remember, if you did that, you would have only got 2 marks. To work out the next part, that's where you get full 4 marks. So we're doing £5, take away 150, which gives you 350. So if you wrote this down, that gets you your 3rd mark, and getting the final correct answer, £3.50, gets you your 4th mark. So it's important when you have multiple marks for a problem solving question, you write down anything that comes to your head in the paper. So you lose marks. Even if you don't get the answer correct, you only lose 1 or 2 marks, and you get the rest of the part correct, and you get majority of the mark. So we've been asked to work out the median here, which is, so it's the middle when ordered. So you need to put them in order. It's 2 mark question. Put the numbers in order before you pick the middle number. So I would just write them down in the correct order. We're going to write them in order. That gets you 1 mark. And now we start going to circle it, underline it, cross it off, whatever you want to do. We're going to start doing that, and you'll get to the middle number. So we got 1 and 2 cancel these 6 and 9. So your middle numbers are 3 and 4. But you can't have 2 numbers as a median. You need to find the middle of those 2 numbers. So the straightforward is going to be 3.5. That's your median. But if you have a slightly bigger gap, you can use the maths to work it out. So the maths is simple. You add those 2 numbers up, 3 and 4, add them all up, and divide by 2, because there's 2 numbers and you want to work out the average of those 2 numbers, middle of those 2 numbers. So 7 divided by 2 gives you 3.5. Again, you're using calculator, so you don't have to do any of that in your head. Now, that's the balance I start. These been a grade up area, so I'm not putting anything in this area. I don't have to put anything in there. And then you're saying, okay, my balance is gone up to 1,324 on 13th of April 2023. How did I get extra balance there straight away? Something must have gone in, and it does say my salary's gone in, so that goes in that credit. This has been grayed out, so I need to put how much money that's gone in. So my balance gone up from 3760 to 1324. So I need to do that calculation. I'm going to do 1324.83 take away 37.60. Again, it's a calculator paper, but I would still write that calculation down. In case you get the wrong answer, you probably get marks for showing your calculation. So we get 1,287.23 pence. So that's how much money gone into my account to make my balance go up from 3760 to 1,324.83. That gets you your first mark. Now, I need to take away that 150. Why? Because it's a gas bill. I'm paying that amount out of my account, which has £1,324, and I'm paying 150 from that account. 1,174.83. Again, that gets you 1 mark because you took that away. And then again, I'm paying council tax. That goes out of my account as well, because that's the money going out. You're debiting your account with 141.89. So I'll do that again, 141.94, and that's your 3rd mark. So remember, just take your time, look through it carefully. This grayed out area, you're not expected to put anything. You needed to fill in these 3 gaps, which we just done, and you get 3 marks. So it was easy when you're using calculator. You don't have to do it in your head, you're using calculator. Okay. Other problem solving questions, 5 marks. So write down anything that you come across in the space provided. Any calculation you do in your head, write it down in the space provided to get maximum possible marks. Even if you get the wrong answer, you still can pick up 4 marks on this question. Just sells 96 candles. 1/4 of the candles were small. I would just work out that straight away, and I know it would give me 1 mark. If I say 1/4 of the 96, 1/4 of 96, and I just put that in the calculator, 1/4 times 96, and I'll get 24. That would definitely be 1 mark, even if you don't write down what that equals to. If you write down 1/4 times 96, it will give you 1 mark. So we sell 24 small candles, and the rest were large. So I need to do the next calculation. 96 take away 24, that gives me the large candle. So I'll do that again in the calculator. 96 take away 24, and that gives me 72 large candles. That gets you another mark. That's 2 marks there out of 5. Joe made profit of £5.50 each on the small candles. So we're doing 24 times 550. That gives me profit on small candles. All I have to do is again and then so you made twice as much profit on the large candles. So there are 72 large candles, and twice of 550 would be 11, and that will give me 792. So obviously I need to work out 24 times 550, which gives me 132. So that's 1 mark each there. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 marks. Now the final mark is saying work out total profit. So total profit is when you add these up. That gives me 4, 2, and 9. So £924 was the total profit, and that gets you your 5th mark. So you can work out 2 ways doing it. You can work out what 17% is, and then add it on to 200, because you're increasing that 200. So a lot of people make mistakes and work out 70%, 17% of 200, okay, and then leave it as 34. What we're going to do is a calculator paper. Very quickly you can work that out. So if you're increasing it by 17%, so you started with 100, which is your 200, plus 17. So you're trying to work out 117%. 117% as a decimal would be 1.17. Multiply that 200 by 1.17. So 1.17 times 200 gives you the increased. What would it be increased to? Which is £234. Write down the whole number values of x, where x is between 3 and 8. So x has to be bigger than 3 or equal to 3 but less than 8. And we need the whole number value, the integer values. So we can have x to be 3. It has to be bigger than or equal to 3. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But it cannot be 8. So these are all the values that's between 3 and 8. Those are all the values that x can take. Draw 2 lines inside this rectangle to split it into one trapezium. Now trapezium have only one pair of parallel lines. That's this property. That's trapezium has to be one pair of parallel lines. So as long as I do any parallel line anywhere and join them up, that creates a trapezium. That's a trapezium, as long as these 2 lines are parallel. So we need to make one trapezium and 2 right angle triangles. So I can clearly see it. The easiest one I can quickly see is this one here. By the way, that means to go in the corner. Okay, this line needs to go into the corner there. So that's a right angle triangle. And again, I need one pair of parallel lines. So this line here is parallel to this line here. So I can do something like this. So now these 2 lines are parallel, so makes this as a trapezium. And these 2 are right angle triangles. 1 and 2. And put your final answer in this diagram. So I just need to copy that as long as I'm satisfied with my answer. Obviously you can have multiple tries to think through how you're going to get those 2 marks. Jan is trying to work out the size of an angle x. So this is the angle we're trying to work out, or Jan is trying to work out. He assumed that ABC is a straight line. This is a straight line. Work out the answer he gets. If it's a straight line here, so we're splitting that straight line at this point and that out this angle here is 100 degrees, so this angle has to be 80 degrees. So that gets you 1 mark. Again, for whenever you're doing these kind of questions, you can draw on the shapes, you can write on the shapes. If you, as long as you write the correct angle on the shapes, then you will get those marks as a working out marks. Or you can write it here saying 180 take away 100, which is 80 degrees. So that's where that angle is, and you possibly have to name it properly as well, but just leave it as 80 degree. And then you consider this triangle here, whereas you know two of the angle 80 and 40, so the other angle has to be equal to 40 degrees to make all of those adds up to 180, not 40, sorry, 60 degrees. 80 and 40 add 60 degree here, that makes up the 180 degree angle. So we know that angle X is going to be 60 degrees. Because we know these three angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees, and then we're taking away 80 plus 40, which is 120. That gives you 60 degrees as an angle. So that's our answer. In fact, the angle ABC, so this angle here is 178. So it's not a straight line. There's a slight bump there. Okay, rather than having a straight line, it's like this. So work out this angle. So we're going to use the fact the angle at this point here adds up to 360 degrees. So rather than having an 80 degree here, this angle is going to be 82 degree now. Because you add that 2 degree makes up that 180 plus 80 gives you total 360 degrees. So if that's 82 degrees, then this would be 58 degrees next. So in fact, this is smaller than what it was before. So it is larger than the answer to part A. No, it's actually smaller. And that's that third one. It's smaller than answer to part A for that reasoning. This graph shows the daily profit of a shop over 2 weeks. So week 1 profit is a dotted line. Week 2 profit is solid line. So on the Monday, we have £100 and £160. So total of £260 of profit on Monday. So write down the profit on Thursday of week 1. So remember, week 1 is dotted line, and on Thursday week 1 is that one. So it's £160 of profit. That's the answer to the first part. Next one. The total profit on Monday of 2 weeks was 260. Yeah. Which day had the highest total profit of the week? So let's work it out. So on the Monday we have 260. So you can see what the profits on each one of those days were if I added both of those. We've been told that it was 260 for the Monday. Then we worked out these two adds up to 312. Wednesday 250, Thursday 284, Friday 340, and Saturday 352. So that's the highest number we get. So we needed to say Saturday, and you needed to work out all of those combined profit for each one of those days to get those 2 marks. Shop is closed on Sunday. The manager decided to close the shop on one other day each week. Use the graph to decide which day she should close and give a reason. So you can't just say any day. You need to give a reason. So we already got the answer to that here. Which day the shop makes the least amount of profit? So it's already closed on Sunday. So we can say Wednesday would be the ideal one where you make the least amount of profit, 250. You could say Monday, because then week 1 we only make in 100. But you have to give a reason. So I would choose either Monday or Wednesday and giving the correct reason why we should do that. Okay. So I would say Wednesday and then give a reason least amount of profit. So the profit on the week 1 is double on Friday than the week 2. Answer is no, and I can go and explain why. So you need to give the reason, otherwise you won't get any mark either. On Friday, that's 1, 2 and 3 square boxes. And then you go 1, 2 and 3 square boxes. So the profit on the week 1 is double than the profit on week 1. Now, you need to be looking at the scale here. That sign here on the scales, it tells you cut out the first 100 of the graph because it's irrelevant. We don't have any numbers below 100. So there's no point drawing a graph that just goes empty up to 100 and then it starts doing something. So this height wasn't actually 3 boxes. This height is way more than 3 boxes. In a way, it meant to be 8 boxes, and that's 11 boxes if you include that part. 140 to 200 is not double. The method to estimate the area of the shape is given below. I put a shape on the rectangular grid of dots. Write down the number of dots in the shape and then as a fraction of the total number of dots, and work out this fraction of the area of the rectangle. So we put the rectangle on top and we're saying this shape includes 16 of the 20 dots. So that's the first part we're doing. We're putting the dotted sheet on there and we're saying it's 16 out of 20 dots that's been covered by the area. And then we're saying, okay, work out that fraction of the area. So area of the rectangle would have been 7.5 times 6. Again, you have calculator at your hand or available to you. Use that to work out what that would be. You possibly get 1 mark if I did 7.5 times 6, which turns out to be 45. So the area of the entire square is 45, and this covers 16 of these dots out of 20 dots. So we're going to be doing 16 out of 20 multiplied by 45. So you get 1 mark, and when you do the final answer and work out the estimated answer to that, will give you that 4th mark. So we should have 36 as our answer. How could we improve this method to give more reliable answer? If you want to improve it, you can have more dots, because the dots are not enough basically, right? Or you can have your rectangle on the dots exactly, so you can estimate the answer correctly. So those are the 1 or 2 of those way you can correct it better. So have more dots or smaller dots. Either way you can say that. More dots or have the rectangle on top of the dots. The speed of International Space Station is 27,576 km per hour. The station travels 42,600 km in one orbit. Work out the number of full orbit station does in 1 day per hour. So first thing I need to do is 3 mark questions. I need to write that down, saying 27,576 multiplied by 24. Why? Because there are 24 hours in 1 day. That'll get you the total. So that's how many kilometer space station can travel. Now 42,600 kilometer in one orbit means it takes that many kilometers to go around once. So all I need to do is take that number and divide by 42,600. So I'll do 661,824 divide by 42,600. That gets you a 2nd mark. And when you get the answer, which is 15.535, obviously decimal continues. Saying work out the number of full orbits. It does give you that in the bold letter there. So full orbit, not the decimal one, not the half of it, full orbit. So full orbit is going to be 15. And that gets you your 3rd mark. So if you leave it up to that point, you only get 2 marks. Convert this into meter per second. So I'm going to write it down. 27,576 kilometer per hour means in 1 hour. And I need that into meters and I need that into seconds. So I'm going to just keep the fraction same. Okay. So change that into meters. So that would be 2,720. Sorry. How many meters are there in kilometers? 1,000. So I'm going to multiply that by 1,000. That's how many meters would that be. So I'm not changing anything, changing that unit from kilometer to meter. So I can't do that at the bottom as well. I can't multiply bottom number by 1,000 as well. Okay, all I did is change kilometer. That's still the same distance. I'm not done anything. At the bottom, although I can keep the 1 hour as 60 minutes. I can change 60 minutes into 3,600 seconds. Because every minute goes 60 seconds, so 60 times 60, that gives you... So we're traveling 37,576,000 meters in 3,600 seconds. So what would it be if you went to do it 1 second? Now I'm changing the numbers. I'm dividing bottom number by 3,600, so I need to divide top number by 3,600 as well. So I need to be doing that, dividing top and bottom by 3,600. So that would be how many meter would that be in 1 second? If I change that 3,600 seconds to 1, I need to divide by that. So I need to now divide the top number by 3,600 as well, which is 27,576,000. Which turns out to be 7,660. Divide this by, so we get at the top you will have that as a meter, 7,660 meters over 1 second. So that's what it means by 7,660 meters per second. So in 1 second, that's how fast how many meters that space station would be traveling. Kroc is simplifying 6n to the power 5 times 2n to the power 4. His answer is 8n to the power 20. Identify the two mistakes he has made. So mistakes are straightforward. We need to multiply that 6 and 2. So instead of multiplying it, he added that. Okay, so that's the first mistake. So he added those 6 and 2. That gives you 8, which is wrong. Should have done 6 times 2, which is 12. Okay, so you can do it either way. That's the first mistake. The second mistake, those power needs to be added. Why? Because when you have n to the power 5, means n times n times n times n times n. And then I'm multiplying it by n to the power 4. So n times n times n times n. What does that do? You will have now n to the power 9. So here, instead of doing 5 times 4, which is 20, which is wrong. We should have done 5 add 4 and should have got the power to be 9. Expand and simplify. So I would use grid method to do this as well. We're multiplying x plus 6 with x minus 3. So I complete the grid. What would you get in here? X length, x height. That gives you x squared. And x times positive 6 is positive 6x. Negative 3 and x, so that gives you negative 3x. Negative 3 and 6 gives you negative 18. So that's expansion done. Now we need to simplify. Simplify means you collect the common terms. You can collect these negative 3x with the positive 6x. So we would get these two added together and your answer would be x squared, because that's the only x squared term we got. Then 6x take away 3x gives you positive 3x, and then you got the negative 18, and that's the simplified answer. B, solve this. So you're looking at these two numbers here. X minus 9 will give you one number regardless of what you put as x. And then x plus 4 gives you also one number. So we're looking at two numbers multiplied to give you 0. Think of any scenarios. One of those numbers has to be 0 to give you answer 0. So my answer is going to be either your x minus 9 is equal to 0. So if you make x minus 9 equal to 0, what's the value of x? 9. 9 minus 9 will give you 0. That's the only possible scenario there. Or I can have x plus 4 to be 0. One of those answers has to be 0 to make the total to be 0. So if x plus 4 is equal to 0, that x has to be negative 4. Because negative 4 add 4 gives you 0. So those are those two answers, and that's why it's only 1 mark. You didn't have to do a lot of extra work out there. Write down 225 as a product of prime factors. So again, I would write down 225 and then split that. Two numbers multiply to give you 225. You can't half it. Why? Because the last number is not even. It's not multiple of 2. So what we're going to do, we divide it by 5. Why? Because you can divide 225 by 5. So if I divide it by 5, you can use a calculator again. There's nothing stopping you from using calculator. 225 divided by 5, I would have 4 and 5. 45 times 5 gives you 225. 5 is a prime number, 45 isn't, so split that. 9 times 5. Again, 5 is a prime number, 9 isn't, so you split that. 3 times 3. So that's our prime numbers that multiply together. All these circle numbers multiplied together gives you 225. So we have 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. Put that in the calculator, that gives you 225. So that is a product of prime numbers that multiplies together, gives you 225. This is how you can write 225. 3 squared times 5 squared. Volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. That's given to you. You don't have to think about it. Just put that number. Radius is 3 centimeter in here. 4/3 pi, and wherever you see the radius, you put 3 in there to work out the volume of the sphere. Multiply by 3 cubed. Put that in the calculator. If you don't want to put exact answer, or they doesn't ask you to show it in terms of the pi or anything, you can leave the pi out and say 4/3 times 3 cubed. 3 cubed is 27. I can do it in my head as well. So 4/3 times 27. 27 divided by 3 gives you 9. So that gives you 36. And then you're multiplying by pi. So if you've been asked to leave your answer in terms of pi, that would do the job. 36 pi. Or you can write here as a decimal number, 36 times pi, which gives you 113.1 at 1 decimal place. So either one would have got you those 2 marks. Density of the steel is 5.2 grams per centimeter cubed. Work out the mass. So we know the density is equal to mass over volume. Because look, that's given to you in here. Grams per centimeter cubed. So grams are the mass, centimeter cube is the volume. That will give you the density. And we've been asked to work out what mass is. So if you want to get the mass as a subject, multiply both sides by V. So mass is equal to D times V. Density times the volume. We know the volume, which is 36 pi or 113.1. And we know the density, which is 5.2 times 113.1. And we get 588 grams. If you look at it nearest gram. Okay, to the nearest grams. I'm not rounding it to anything. So that would you get 588 grams. And the questions or the mark scheme will allow small variations there. Daniel invests 25,000 for 3 years. The compound interest rate of 2.9% per year. So you get interest over interest basically. Which calculation work out the total value after 3 years. Circle your answer. It's not going to be 3 times bigger. Okay. What we're looking for is this one here. Okay. So 25,000 times 1.029, because that's 2.9% would be 1.029, increase every year, and we're doing it for 3 years. So we're doing 25,000. End of the first year, you're saying okay, 100 at 2.9 gives you 102.9, which is as a decimal 1.029. So when you multiply, that gives you the amount you get end of the first year. Whatever the amount you get, multiply by again, and we're doing it that 3 times. So that's what the answer is. Now Anna invests 2,500 for 3 years. The interest rate is 3.5% first year. So we need to do 2,500 multiplied by 1.035. That gives you amount at the end of the first year. Let's work it out. 2,500 times 1.035. We get 2,587.5. That's end of the first year. And then the next, for the second year onwards, you get 3.3%. So we need to do that amount, 2,587.5 multiplied by 1.023 squared, because you're looking for another 2 years. So working out what you would get at the end of the 3 years. So times by 1.023 squared. So at the end, I would end up with 2,707.9. Okay, 89 at 2 decimal place. So that's how much Anna would get at the end of the 3 years. And we're looking at the Daniel's investment. The Daniel would be getting this much. So that's how much Anna would earn. And the Daniel would be getting 2,500 multiplied by 1.029 cubed. Let's just check again. Yes, 3 marks, and comparison and saying the Daniel would be earning more, which gives you 3 marks. 4th mark. Just because the biggest number is 5 doesn't mean. So these two doesn't add up to the same number. Otherwise it would be if they add up to the same numbers. Why? Because we're sharing 180 degree for the first triangle A into the ratio 1 to 2 to 5. That's what we're sharing that 180 degree in that ratio. So 180 divided by 8. 1 to 2 to 5. That gives you 8 in total parts. So you can work out what 1 is, what 2 is, and what 5 is. So that's 22.5. So one angle is 22.5. So the biggest angle on the angle triangle. So we do 22.5 times 5. So the biggest angle on this triangle here, we say, would have been 112.5. Okay, that 5 represents 112.5. Whereas the triangle B, again, the angle adds up to 180, and the thing here is adds up to 12. So we can work out what one part is, and then we compare that one part with 5. So he's doing 180 divide by 12. So that's 15. The one small part is 15. So obviously the 5 parts, that's the biggest angle. So we're doing the 13 times 5. That gives me the biggest angle, which is 75. So in the biggest angle here in the triangle B is 75. Obviously they are not the same. The biggest angle on B and biggest angle on A are not the same. So I would show this working out to support my answer. There's a graph of the straight line. Work out the equation of the line. So equation of the straight line always comes in that form. Y equal to mx plus c. Now the c is the y-intercept. When x value is 0, what is your y value? That comes from here. So when x is 0, y value is there. That's 1. So we know the c is positive 1. Now the gradient is the slope. The m is the slope of the line. How quickly that rises. How quickly the y rises when you move 1 across the x-axis. So when you go from 0 to 1, that's I moved 1 across. And how far up did I move? I moved 2 up. So my gradient there is change in y divided by change in x. So gradient is 2. So I know is 2x. M is 2 and y-intercept is 1. So my equation of the line is y equal to 2x plus 1. Work out the coordinates of the y-intercept of the line is parallel to the answer 2, so it does have a gradient 2, and it passes through the point 2, 2. So we're saying, okay, if the equation of the line is parallel to the line there, so it's going through that same line. So we're saying it's got the gradient 2, so 2x plus c. We don't know what c is, but we know where that goes through. This passes through the point 2, 2. So when y is 2, x is 2. So what is the value of c? So 2 is equal to 2 times 2, which is plus c as well. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4. So 2 is equal to 4 plus something. So that something has to be negative 2. And that is your y-intercept. It has to be cutting the y-axis at negative 2 if it has to go through that point. So x-axis is 0 and the y-axis would be negative 2. So x value is 0, y equal to negative 2. A 10-kilometer race took place. Information about the time achieved by women are in the table here. So first we've been asked to do the midpoints. Everything's here been worked out, labeled everything. Okay, so we're looking for the information here. And we're trying to work out the mean time for the woman anyway, because we're trying to compare the mean time for the men and mean times for the woman. Because we already know the mean time for men was 81 minutes. So every man, if they all shared out equally basically, they all would have finished in 81 minutes. If saying fastest person gave their time and ran for the slowest person, they all would have completed in 81 minutes, men. So we're trying to work out the mean times for the women. So the one person took, we got the times for 20 women. So one person took roughly 55 minutes. So that's why we're working out midpoint, because we don't know. From 50 minutes to 60 minutes, we're saying, okay, let's say that one woman completed the in 55 minutes. So total time taken by that one person is 55 minutes. Then this person here, 6 people here, 6 women, took 60 to 80. So we're saying, okay, we just stick to the middle number, midpoint, which is 70. Saying these 6 women take 70 minutes to complete those. So we do 70 times 6. It's 420 minutes. Those 6 women took 420 minutes then. But these 13 women took 80 to 100. So we're going to again stick to the middle number, midpoint, which is 90. So 90 times 13, what would you get? So we would get 1,170 minutes for these 13 women combined. So overall, we have taken, on roughly, this 20 women taken 1,645 minutes to complete the race between these 20 women. So if you want to work out the mean average, and it says estimated mean average, then you're doing that 1,645 and divided by 20, because there's a times of those 20 women. So it's 20 women's times added together, divide by the total number, which gives you 82.25. That is the mean average of the women. So now obviously, say compare the mean time achieved by men and women. So on average, men ran faster than the women, because that's what the information is about in that race, 10-kilometer race. Men were faster. And that's about it. We conclude our paper with saying men were faster, okay? And women were slower by 1 minute and 25 seconds on average. Hope you enjoyed this paper. Give it a like and share it with your friends, okay? The more people you share it with, the more people will benefit from this. And I feel like I'm not wasting my time trying to create these videos, okay? And thank you for watching again. One more time, thank you. Give it a like.